Flosstube, my name is Mariam, my pronouns are she, her. I'm a cross stitcher and a cross stitch designer, and this is my channel about cross stitch and other crafty endeavors. You can also follow me on Instagram under Mislaid Designs, and you can find my patterns and designs on Etsy under the same name. Everything is linked down below, so if you are interested to check them out, please do so. Follow me, and if you decide to stitch one of my patterns, please make sure that you tag me so I can actually see your progress. I love to see people's progress and their take on my designs. Alright, so welcome to my channel. As I said, this is my channel about cross stitch. I also share other crafty endeavors with you, and today I have a little bit of that as well. It's been a while since I recorded, and there are so many reasons for that. The world we're living in is a different place now, and I've been dealing with a lot of that and a lot of real life. And finally I decided that it's time and I need to sit down and actually record a video and check in with you because I miss you. And also I have, I found cross stitch to be my way of coping and my way of relaxation, so I love to remain connected to the community. Alright, so let's get started. I usually start with what's happening in the community, and we're getting closer to springtime. We're closer to March, and it's right around the corner, and that means that it's time for a Nashville Needle Market, which is a wholesale vendor designer event that is, it's not open to public, so stitchers are not going there. On a lot of those who are there and are stitchers are either working for a designer, with a designer, or they're shopping on behalf of LNS. So right now a lot of LNS are taking pre-orders. I have placed my pre-order with my localish needlework store, which is Youtiful Sip and Stitchery here in Illinois, and I'm looking forward to that, and that's something that I'm excited about. But yeah, so if you haven't placed your order, a lot of those pre-orders are closing very soon, so check out your local needle workshop or online, your favorite online store, and see what's available for pre-order. Alright, so other thing that's happening, I actually had 2 releases in the past month and a half, however long it has been since the last time I recorded, that I want to highlight again here. So if you haven't seen it on Instagram or you haven't checked it out on my Etsy shop, you have a chance to, see what they look like and what they're about. So first, I released Maydel. She looks like this, and she is a mermaid. So it's based on a folklore, a southern part of Iran. We do have Persian Gulf is on the south, and there are a lot of pearl divers, and among them there is the legend of Maydel, or Mother of Sea, and she sings and cries in the sea, and a lot of divers, this is the legend that if you see her, encounter her, she might ask you to make a crib for her child, and if you do, and if you listen to her and do what she asks you to do, she will give you she will reward you with a very big pearl. So this is something that they count her as a blessing and good omen if you see her in the sea. So that's a little bit of a difference between this legend and a lot of siren related legends that are out there, and they're more sinister, and they're sort of drag sailors under the sea and kill them and all of that. So it's a little different take on that. So I was starting to stitch on a mermaid. I was inspired, so I designed a mermaid design of my own. The second pattern that I released was for Valentine's Day, and it looks like this, and it's called Love is Weird. And as you see, we oddballs tend to find each other, and it's not just in a celebration of romantic love, but it's also celebration of all sorts of love. So love comes in so many shapes and sizes and formats, and it's, I think in Valentine a lot of focus is on romantic love, but you know, there are friendships, there are platonic love, there are you know, maternal love, there are familial love, so there are a lot of sort of like spiritual love, so there are a lot of like connections that we make with other human being, and also even with our pets. So that's another kind of love. If you love your pet, that's the love, right? So it's worth celebrating all of it. So that's my design for the celebration of you know, finding match in our weirdness and celebrating that. Okay, so these, I think that's what I have to share about like my designs, and also what's coming up in you know, in a few weeks. So let's get talking about crafting and what I have done in the past month and a half that I was gone. So let's start with something that actually I don't share that much, which is crochet. I had a finish. I had to actually start and finish during the past month and a half. This is the first sweater that I have made. It's rainbow, and so yeah, it's long sleeve. It has a balloon sleeve, and so this was my first attempt at making a garment, and I have to say that I was rage crocheting, and so yeah, so I made this in 10 days. Yeah. I was not feeling, I was living in my feelings, and all the things that are happening. So yeah, I was rage stitching essentially, and I was trying to cope with the state of the country and everything that's happening, and all the legislations that are going on, and all the laws, all the changes, major changes, the shift that unfortunately is happening, and all the anti-trans, anti-queer, anti-people of color laws that are passing and coming into effect, and all those executive orders that are going on. And so yeah, so I was angry, and I needed to cope somehow, so I decided to make a sweater. So this is my first attempt at making a sweater, using a lightweight synthetic fiber. Actually, it's a synthetic yarn, and because I didn't know if I actually like it or not, but anyway, but it is soft, so I actually bought more, you know, acrylic yarns to make some more sweaters, and as I get, you know, better at it, then I will invest in getting some higher quality yarns. Anyway, so yeah, so that was a finish, start and a finish, and I have two webs, two crochet webs to show you as well. So okay, and of course, when you make one sweater and it looks, you know, decent, you fall down the rabbit hole of making sweaters, and now I want to make sweaters for everyone. So I started with my dad, and this is the pattern. This pattern is from the same designer. It was a Canadian designer. It's MJsOffTheHookDesigns on Etsy. And I feel like I liked her patterns because first of all, they're really simple, and also they come in a range of size from extra small to 5X, and you can, you know, tweak it, and she actually walks you through how to tweak it in terms of length. You can have it like a crop on, you know, hips, or if you want it to be a tunic, you can actually make it into tunic, or even a dress if you want to. So she actually walks you through all of that, and it comes with instructional video as well. So for someone who's like very new to this, and I try like to follow the pattern, like the written pattern, and if I get to a point that I don't understand what it means, I can go and use the video as a reference and watch that and understand what's saying. So this one is what I chose to do for my dad. This is like a top down, similar to this one. It's a top down sweater, and it's a cable sweater as well. And this is the, and he chose the color, so my dad chose this burgundy. I know it's like showing as more of like a brown, but this is burgundy, so it's more reddish. And as you can see, I started the forming of the cable. This is the first time I'm actually stitching cable sweater. So yeah, I started on this, and I'm sure this will not be the only one that I make. I already have ordered more yarn to make sweater for my mom, my brother, and you know, whoever else. And I'm planning on making myself a summer sweater as well, so we'll see. Next crochet project is in this humongous avocado bag, and I'm gonna talk about these bags, like these project bags, later on in my investment section. And yeah, so these are like wet bags that you usually use when you go to the beach or you go to a swimming pool, and you basically dump your wet swimming clothing in this, and then you take it for wash. But they make great project bag too. So I use the smaller ones I've had ordered smaller ones before for my cross stitch projects, but I ordered a couple of these large, very large ones for my crochet. So especially got crochet blanket, which what this is. So when I ordered all these yarn to make the sweaters, I realized that I have had a lot of like leftover yarns sitting around from really old projects. Mainly I made few granny square bedspreads, and I had a lot of like leftover yarn from that. So I decided to make a blanket out of like a waist blanket. So it's gonna be a giant granny square essentially. And I have started like just no rhyme or reason. I try to just alternate between a darker color and something that pops as much as I can. And yeah, so I just attach a yarn, I stitch until it's done, and then I attach the next one, and on we go. So I don't know how big this will turn out to be, but I still have a whole bag of yarn, like tiny little balls of yarn left. So we'll see. So this, like when I'm sitting in front of TV with the family and I'm not in the mood of doing cross stitch or stitching the sweater, this is a really easy project to just pick up and stitch on. So that's what I'm doing with this. Alright, so that's all of my crochet. So now I'm going to talk about cross stitch. So first, finishes. So I am participating in Stitch for Pride 2025. It's designed by these 20 stitches, and the fabric is by Jessie from Mislaid Pages, and I know that they were called for thread packs, but I didn't want to wait until I didn't catch the first release, and then I didn't want to wait for the second one, so I decided to, and by like encouragement of D himself, I decided to go and do my own color palette. And so the fabric is 36 count linen in resistance. Let me show you the fabric again. And I am picking the colors based on the region that these characters are from. So last year there were 12 queer artists that were featured in these drops in Stitchwork Project 2024, which I finished. And this year it's 12 trans and gender queer characters, basically, from history. So the first one here, we started from the top corner, and started with Helia Gavalis. She was a trans Syrian monk, Syrian Arab priest in 14th century who became an emperor of Rome for a very short period of time, I think 4 years only. And what she did during the time was like that time is very famous for, like, she is famous for exuberance and like having lavish parties and debauchery and all of that. So she's depicted here as like throwing flowers and just laying on a bed, of course. Why not? So yes, and she was very young, and the reason why we are identifying her as a trans character is because there is a quote from her that says not to call her a man or a sir, basically, and to call her a lady. So yeah, we're following that. So exactly, so that's how she identified. And then this one, the bottom of it is, this is below her we have his Hatshepsut, who became king alongside her son, and took on to because her son was an infant when he came to power, essentially, and she had to rule on his behalf. And for people to take her seriously, she started actually wearing more masculine clothing and became more masculine presenting. Her activities and demeanor and how she is depicted is more with mask characteristics. And that period was a period of peace in Egypt, and she's Egyptian, and yeah, so Syrian. So the colors that I chose, the first one is from, let me see if I have it here. I think I have it, yeah. So this is Almond M&M's in Midnight Orchid, and it's based on the purple color that is like a Syrian purple color from that region, from the Levant region, and in the era as well. And it was like what we are considered as like a royal purple is actually comes from is derived from this color. And because making it was very expensive, so it was only used by people of highest status. So I thought it was fitting, if we are talking about a person who was very famous for being exuberant, to use this color for her. And then for Hitchup's suit, I used what is called Egyptian blue, which is I chose the Night Stalker Calling blue color, and this is, again, is known to be the first synthetic color of its kind, and for a long period of time it was lost because the formula was lost, so they didn't know how to recreate it. But then essentially scientists and alchemists were able to recreate the formula and bring back the Egyptian blue again. And you can see that this blue is featured in a lot of you know, carvings and stuff, like in a decorative way in Egypt, in ancient Egypt. So yeah, so right now this is the palette so far. Next, I'm gonna I have stitched on so many different projects and have been picking on different projects because I really haven't been in a mood of stick to something. And I think it's like the anxiety of you know, that I'm experiencing, have been experiencing, and still am. I feel a little better, hence recording. But I have been, you know, just picking on different projects because I'm looking for something that I can actually, you know, enjoy, and it's been difficult. So I have tons of projects that I have stitched on, but maybe I stitched on for 1 or 2 nights, and that's it. So I'm gonna like just pick from the pile, talk about it, and put it behind me. Alright, so first, this one is Thursday Goes Goth by Hamlock and Rye, which is Julie from Kansas City Girl in Colorado World. This is stitched on 18 count cauldron, hand dyed by Jim fabric using called for threads. So when I started, when I picked it up this time, I only had the border, these 2 birds, and one of the plants here. So I added the second one, and then this one, and I started on this one. Right. So I am planning on doing the Motif week with Thirza, because there are a lot of color changes in this pattern, and as much as I like, you know, stitching on it and the effect of it, actually when I have a lot of anxiety and I just want to go and be able to be lost in the stitching process, this is not really helpful. So I'm gonna just switch it and turn it into a motif a week kind of situation, so at least I will be able to work on it once a week and make some progress on it, because I'd really like to see this done. I love this pattern a lot. So okay, next is the InkCircle round robin. So I finished my round robin, the new round robin, my own project. So now I can actually start sending it to the next person, which for me will be Julie, who's Julie in Stitches 16. And so the rogue round robin that I was part of last year, we're gonna continue on this year as well, which includes Julie, Kansas City Girl in Colorado World, Tara from Wilder Woman Crafts, and Julie in Stitches 16. So, and me. So this was my piece. Let me show you the actual pattern. I have to make another working copy and because originally I divided it a different way, and then when I started stitching I decided to do a different way because I wanted everyone to be able to stitch one of the octopus, an octopus and the panther. Right. So yeah, I really like it. It's reflections on a Grecian urn. And I am stitching it on hemp fabric. I think this is 32 count. Do not remember the name of it, just know it's green. Yeah, so that's how I divided it. And I am using Mossalesilk, and oh, it's Jackson Fiber Art, and the color is Ruin. And then I am using silk. Where is it? A silk thread in Mossalesilk in Wishful Thinking, which is this beautiful purple color. It looks really darker on the green, but that's the purple. That's what it is. Yeah. So now as I'm done my section, I can actually now send it. I was waiting to film, and then I send it to Julie. So now I have filmed. Now I can send it to Julie and start the process for this year. Can't wait to see. I know a few people have already shared what they have chosen for their patterns this year, so I'm excited to get those and be able to work on those. Next is Modern Folk Embroidery 2025 a stitch along, the Baldequin birdies. But I am not stitching the whole pattern. I'll show you the whole pattern and then what I'm stitching on. So this is the whole pattern. So that's what the whole pattern looks like. And then this pattern comes with a freebie inside, which is inspired, which is this one, which is inspired. If you look, these are the same birds, and you know, elements of the same design is made into this. And this is manageable. This I like. This I really like, but this is huge and it will take forever and maybe never to finish it. So I decided to just do the freebie. So, and I'm stitching it on 16 count Ada Be Stitch Me Ada in Vampire's Kiss, which is this red and black, using Sanjo silk in white. So I made a great progress, as you can see. So yeah. Next is a start and progress. So our guild, Embroidery Guild of America, our chapter, Windy City chapter, what we do every year is a challenge. So we pick a pattern, or we pick the project as our challenge, and the idea is that you focus on that, and the goal is to finish it by the end of the year. So I was sort of like inspired beforehand, and I got all the stuff for this pattern, and then on the day of, in a meeting for our challenges, I haven't picked anything because I was like, I have cells and other things I'm working on, and I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself, so I didn't really submit any challenge. I was like, I'm not going to participate. But then that's the thing, when you are in the meeting and everyone is talking about their challenge, you get inspired, and then you're sort of like, you find yourself committing to something that you never thought that you will be committing to. Like, that's exactly what happened. So at the time, I only had my pattern, so I haven't even had all of my, you know, beads and stuff. And yeah, there are beads involved. And it's a Bella Filipina, and it's called Urduja, and the printer was horrible, so I'm gonna just insert the photo here. This is what it looks like, and I had a whole thing. This is a project that I'm gonna actually do beading on for the first time, because I stitched like a body there, but I replaced all the beads with Petite Treasure braid, so I basically use metallic threads instead, and I love it. She looks amazing, she looks beautiful, and she's behind me right there. But this one, I was like, I was encouraged to actually try and do the beading and see how I feel about the actual beading. So yeah, so I initially, I started asking people, and people were like, you either need to stitch on 32 count or 28 count, essentially 16 count or 14 count. And I was like, that's not my job. I don't actually like it. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go with 32. Then the fabric I got ended up being too small, so then I switched to another fabric. So I started on a 16 count, and I hated the coverage. I absolutely hated the coverage, and I did not want to go up to 3 strand. So I wanted to stick to the 2 strand kind of situation. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just Nietzsche. I was talking about this dilemma that I had because of the beading. They told me not to go higher, so don't go to 18 or 36 count, because it's not going to work out. It will be too jammed and the beads will not sit right. And I can see that. It's like, of course it makes sense. So I was sharing with Nitya that I don't know what to do. I'm like, I don't want to stitch on this project now because it's on 16 count. It doesn't look right. I don't want to like be stitching on it and then hating it and quitting on it halfway after I put so much energy into it. So she was like, oh, why don't you just try some of those beads on an 18 count fabric and see what it will look like. So I was like, that's a great idea. Let me do that and see how I feel. So I picked a piece of 18 count Ada and I did some of the beading on it just as a test to see how it looked like, and it looks like I should be okay. The only thing that doesn't exactly fit is the bugle beads, which are the stemmy, like the longer beads, and there should go over 3 stitches, but they go over 4 because this is 18 count. But I'll be fine. It's fine. And if push comes to shove, I will just replace bugle beads with Petite Treasure braid and I will be fine. So let me show you. I have finished the first page. The only thing that is left, so all the empty spots are going to be beads. I even did all the back stitching and metallic threads as well. So this is my first page, and she already looks amazing, if I say so myself. Just look at her. And this is 18 count. Picture this plus in Da Vinci, I think. So yeah, so all these, let me show you, let me fold this. So all in her hair, those are all beads. This whole heavy necklace, this is whole thing. That whole thing will be beads. So it's very heavily beaded. So yeah, I'm excited. Let me show you all the so these are all the metallic threads, and these are all the beads. Yeah, and these are the threads. So it's relatively smaller than I would say like a potty. Like a potty was 9-page, full, very full pages of stitching. This is only 6 pages, and only 2 of those 6 pages are like heavy, like most of the page is covered and you will stitch. The rest are just not, it's a partial page basically. So I think it's doable in a year. You know, we'll see. Already, like, we haven't been to the end of, it's not even end of February, and I have like 1 page done. So, and I know beading will take forever, so I need to count in for that too, but I think I should be able to manage it. We'll see. Next is Spot Your Sampler Sal. Ooh. This is Spot Your Sampler Sal, and it's in this bag. This, I love to make my finishes into project bags. This is I don't remember the name of the pattern, but it's by Michelle Garrett, like Bendy Stitchy. So yeah, I turned that into my project bag. So I turned 40 this year, and I decided to take on a challenge. So a Spot Your Number Sal is the challenge that me and Julie in Stitches 16, we both are doing this year, and I, you know, call for anyone who wants to do it to join us. So basically you pick a number. For me, because I was turning 40, I chose 40 as my number, and then you go to your stash. I am only doing paper patterns. Someone is, I hope they're okay. Okay, so I'm only doing paper patterns because my goal is to, after I'm done with each pattern, to get it out of my collection. So I'm going to just give it away basically. And you cannot give away a PDF pattern unless it's yours, right? Unless it's like designed by you. So if it's my design, I can gift the PDF, but I cannot gift anyone else's PDF pattern that I purchased for them to use. So I cannot use that as a giveaway, but I can use paper pattern as a giveaway. So I chose 40 patterns, 40 charts, paper charts, and that I like part of it. Like I don't like, never like, something made me choose that pattern to buy, and I'm only, you know, drawn to a part of that, a motif or two of that pattern. So I decided to just stitch that motif and move on, and just pass that pattern to someone else that maybe want to stitch all of it, or maybe they want to do another, like just they're interested in part of it too and they just want to stitch that part. So yeah, so, and the goal is for me, as I go through the patterns, I set them aside for giveaway. So I'm gonna just, between each 2 videos, however many, like if I finish one, that will be that one pattern that I give for giveaway. If I finish 10, that will be the number of patterns that I do the giveaway. Now, right now today, I have 5 patterns that I stitched and I am ready to part ways with. So let me first show you what I have done so far. And also, just to say, I paired that, you know, Spot Your Number with using up, the idea of using up all of my leftover flosses. So I have a lot of like leftover flosses from other projects, from like kits that are left, and like some mystery flosses that I had in my stash. So I made a whole bunch of, so I'm not doing call for any of this. So I just made this with a whole bunch of threads. Like for example, these are all the called for threads that I had from Stitch for Pride 2024. So now I have added those in here. So I pick from this and just stitch it. And the fabric I chose is a 18 count Aida, be a Stitch Be 18 count Aida in Willow, which is a neutral. So the goal is to cover the whole thing. So right now I'm up here. So this is what I have so far. So as you see, I had a little bit of corner, a little rabbit, a flower, wreath, and my initials, and then this little motif, and then this little motif. So I have 5 patterns that I have stitched motifs from, and I'm done. Okay, so now is the portion of the video that includes the giveaway. So let me show you the patterns first that I am done with, and then we're going to talk about rules and how you can enter. So the first one is Sail Away by Jessie from Mislaid Pages. This was an exclusive pattern from Flosstube at Sea, the cruise that I went on last year, and this was one of the patterns that we were gifted. Next is Fragment in Time. So this is the second pattern, and I'm giving all of it as a bundle. I'm not doing separate giveaways for like each of the 5 patterns. If you're interested, you need to enter for all of them. Like you just enter it. If you win, you get all of them basically. This one is Pure and Pleasant. This was a freebie that I got with the pattern that I ordered, so I used the alphabet, and I think yeah, one of the bunny rabbit motifs from this one. And this one is designed by Primitive Betties. And this is Mom the Word by Pixel Pixie Cross Stitch. And then this is Shaker Peg Clock. So this is meant to like be part of a clock kind of kit, but you can just stitch a pattern. This is the pattern. This is the piece that I stitched. And this is by Design of Female Worth. Okay, so these are all the 5 patterns that are up for grabs. If you are interested in entering the giveaway, please be 18. This is open to anyone in the world, anywhere in the world, as long as USPS accepts the mail, and I'm able to use USPS to send it your way. And please be 18. Please don't use any giveaway, raffle, any of those keywords that are usually used by trolls to like take over and try to hijack the giveaway. So don't use any of those phrases. The phrase I want you to use is shaker. Since this is a shaker peg clock, use the word shaker. I'm gonna just make a note so I don't forget. Alright. So yeah, so shaker, SHAKER, as it's written here, shaker. To enter in the giveaway. You need to be okay with sharing your mailing address with me so I can send you the package. And I'm going to be sending it with the regular mail through USPS. So this giveaway will be open for 2 weeks. So I will close this at the end of first week of March. Because I'm planning on recording halfway through March, I want to make sure that the giveaway is closed and the person's name is picked, and I can like contact them and hopefully they respond before the next video. So if I don't hear from the person who got picked, then I will do the if there is another pattern, will be added to this and we'll do this again. Okay, so yeah, so if you want this bundle, please use the word shaker in your comment, and it's open until the end of first week of March, and good luck. Next is Crochet. It's another start. So in our last needle minder retreat, we went to Youtiful Sip and Stitchery, and I kitted up Crochet. I have a large collection of work basket patterns, so I was due to start a new pattern, and this is what I started. Crochet. It says it takes more than fine feathers to make a fine bird. Okay, I like the sentiment. And I started stitching this on 32 count 2/2, but I hated it. It was too big. It would have been like the whole fat quarter. So instead I switched to 1/1. So I'm actually tiny stitching this. Let me show you what I have. Oh my god, the color is washed out. The blue, it looks striking actually, and here has a lot of gray tone to it. So yeah, so I have the sun, this is one of the trees, and one of the birds. The fabric is one of those printed Zweigart. This is even weave, 32 count even weave. It's one of those printed Zweigart ones. Let me see if I have the little tag to tell you what it is. And I used my own color conversion. I mean, I converted it to, it's not a color conversion, but it's like conversion to other flosses. So this is the color palette I'm working with. It has Cottage Garden thread in it, Gentle Art, and Classic Colorworks. So, and the fabric is Atlantic, is Lugana, 32 count Lugana in Atlantic Vintage. Next is the project that I have in this gift. Again, in our last needle minder retreat, Julie made every one of us one of these binders. They're like this, and there's a pocket in here, pocket there, another pocket here, pocket there. So, and in this is the project that I started to be like a reminder of that retreat. So it's InkCircle. It's one of those smaller ones. It's 75 by 75 InkCircle in a strawberry square, and I am using one of those variegated DMCs in, let me tell you the number, 4517. This is the color. using that, and I'm stitching on a piece of Be a Stitch Me 20 count in Tundra, and this is what I have. This needle minder was made by Julie as well. So this first section was stitched by all four of us. So I stitched on it, I started it, and then Nitya stitched on it, Sarah Mottcross stitched on it, and Julie. So Nitya from Daybreak Stitchery. So when I say needle minders, maybe I need to, I always forget that not everyone who watches my video actually knows everything and have been following my other videos. So especially this time, I actually had a few new subscribers, so welcome. So yeah, Needle Minders is a group of four of us, me and three of my stitchy friends, who we live in we met in person for the first time in the Quad City area. So we live in, me and Nitya, we're in Illinois, and Sarah from Mottcross. Nitya is Nitya from Daybreak Stitchery, and we all have Flosstubes, and we are all on Instagram. So Nitya and I are in Illinois. Sarah Mottcross is in Iowa, and then Julie from Julie and Stitches 16 is in Wisconsin. So we're relatively close, and we get together once a year in person at least, and then we meet once a month over Zoom to stitch together. So when we were together last time, this past summer, I started this, and then we all stitch on it. So this first quarter is stitched by me, Sarah, Nitya, and Julie. And then now I'm trying to finish it. So when it's done, I'm going to add Needle Minder Retreat 2024 at the bottom. And then this will be a piece that I will remember our retreat and the fun that we had by. The pile is getting higher. Next is Put a Burn on It by Modern Fork Embroidery. This is a sal started by Sunshine Stitchers, so EJ and Sheila from Sunshine Stitchers started this, and it's like a 13-month challenge. So it's like you break down the pattern into 12 sections, and then you have 13 months to finish it. Stitching on 18 count Tenafera fabric in wine, and I am using Saki threads, which is 12 weight, and I have the basic ones and then one of the blendable ones. So this is my start. I haven't had a chance to get back to it and stitch more, but I will. It's actually a quick stitch. So I'm going on a retreat next week, so I'm going to take it with me. So our EGA, our guild, has an annual retreat, and it's happening next week. So I'm going to take this as one of the projects that I'm going to stitch on with me. Next, I stitched a little bit, I think only one night, on Mother Moon by Joan Elliott. And this is another one of those patterns that usually makes me happy because there are a lot of all the purples. Okay. So what is new is I started on the face, on her face. So all of this is new. And I have replaced the beads on this project with Petit Treasure braid as well. So it's super sparkly. It doesn't come across, but it's absolutely sparkly. And lastly, I started a new project last night because I absolutely was feeling like crap, and I was waiting. I was actually looking for an excuse to start this pattern, especially these days. I felt cold to start it because I feel like we do need more of this kind of energy. So let me find the actual cover. Alright, Flowers for Sylvia by These 20 Stitches. This was to honor Sylvia Rivera, a trans activist, trans woman of color who, again, these days with everything that's going on, and part of it is erasure of history, and it's very important to keep people who have contributed to LGBTQIA community a lot, to honor their memory and keep that memory alive. And also, she was a badass, and she was a drag queen, and then later on came out as trans woman. And it's very important to, these days, I feel like we need to take a page out of their book. And she paired with Marsha P. Johnson, like they were like, they worked really hard on gay and trans liberation, and we do owe them a lot. So I was looking for an excuse to start this pattern, and guess what? Last night I was feeling like crap, and I was like, it's time. So I just went and kitted up this project with let me put something behind it, with Sulky, and I started it. So I have a little bit of like the corner done, and this is 20 count Ada in charcoal. Okay, that was all of my whips. Now I have some investments because month of January was my birthday month, so I actually made some purchases. Goal is for me not to, moving forward for the rest of the year, not to buy anything unless I'm actually out of it. So let's say if I start, I'm not gonna focus on starting new projects. I say this and I already have one project planned to start, but it's near here or there anyway. So yes, so the goal is not to start a lot of projects, and the goal is not to buy a lot of things, like not to go overboard. Basically, I still gonna support my friends, and when they put out patterns that I really like, I allow myself to buy those. But I, like, for example, I don't want to buy a lot more fabric. I have a few in my, I'm a hypocrite. I'm telling you this, and then I remember there are some fabrics that I bought and it's in my investment, and I'm gonna share it with you. But the goal is not to buy a lot, right? So scaling back. It's not a no buy, but is intentional buying. So knowing who I am buying from and who is benefiting from my money, and being mindful about that that money that I'm spending moving forward. Okay, all right, so let me grab the box and then we're gonna go over it. Okay, so when I say box, I actually do mean it. This is all of my investments, and it's heavy, and you're gonna see why. All right, so I'm gonna just pull, and they're not in order. I'm gonna just pull from the one that is closest to me, and then I'm gonna make a pile here and talk about them. All right, so first 1 2 3 stitch order. I ordered my Orduja. So oh yeah, this is the pattern. So I bought my Orduja pattern from 1 2 3 Stitch, and I kitted it up there, and I bought the fabric, a few options for it. I bought one of these sticky bobby or whatever they're called. Don't want to break it. Yeah, it's just like this, and this is sticky. So for beading, you just dump some of the bead in here and it will be sticking to the surface, so then you can go with the needle and pick them up. So I have that, and then I was looking for different options, so I got hand-dyed 32 count hand-dyed fiber on a whim in ocean blue. As I said, I decided not to go with this. This is a crime. This blue is much brighter than what it shows here, but you know the drill. So yeah, I bought that piece, and I bought a Lugana in Mystic, which is Picture This Plus. I have Mystic in, oh my god, it looks gray here. I have Mystic in 18 count, and now this is a 32 count. Picture This Plus is very tight, so I think the 32 count, actually I'm gonna do 2/2 and not do tiny stitching on it. Next, for my birthday, we went to LNS here local to us. Oh my god, I cannot remember the name of the shop. I cannot. I'll leave it here. This is the name of the shop that we went to. It's in Chicago. And I met with Nitya on a day before my birthday, and we went out. So we spent some time for my birthday, and then we went to the shop, and she gifted me this, which is really sweet of her. These are all my designs. So she stitched like part of like inspired by Spot Your Number Sal. She basically made a sampler of my designs, and she gifted it to me. And then she gave me some extra. So she gave me this beautiful yellow fabric. I think it's 32, if I'm not mistaken. And then this color in cotton in brandy. So pretty. And then fabric. I love this. And a card, of course. And then we went to the shop, and then I purchased a few things, because of course, first of all, I bought this like giant hoop. It's huge. I can frame myself in this. And this is originally, when I looked at the size of Orduja based on what was listed on 1 2 3 Stitch, which is PSA, what is listed on 1 2 3 Stitch as the size of the pattern is not accurate always. So I went by that, and I calculated my fabric based on that, and it turned out to be too small. And then I calculated what kind of like you know, the idea was to put the whole thing in a hoop so I can actually finish the stitching and then bead it. So I bought this giant hoop thinking that it will fit. Almost, like, not almost, like most of it will fit. So right now I am stitching. I'm going to be stitching in using regular hoop, and then when it's done, when the stitching part is done, I'm going to put it in this and start the beading. So I'm going to bead as much of it as I can when it's in this hoop, and then do the rest you know, in hands basically, because yeah, because the beads will break. That's another issue when you're beading. So yeah, so I got this giant hoop, and then I got this book that I wanted to get. Is Let's Move the Needle. It's activism handbook for craftists and artists, and the person is Shannon Downey, and you can find her on Instagram as well. So there are so many like different sections and like ideas, and you know, giving you basically tips on how to organize, how to build community, where to start, and all the things. And it's tied with basically, so it's like craft and art runs through it, but that's not the main topic. And I bought some like beading needle for my Orduja pattern. This is like pony needles. I got a pencil, the Coulter's pencil. I use this when I'm making project bags and also finishing. And then I got a few needles in 26 and 28. Again, these are pony needles. And everything came in this cloth bag. I got DMC Floche. I've never like tried Floche, and I wanted to try Floche, so I got these three that, you know, this is the palette basically. Beautiful. And I'm planning on using those Floche threads on this. Okay. And you know, at the corner of my eye, I saw this like piece of something orange on the top shelf, and I was like, what is that? And they said, oh, this is a leftover piece of very expensive fabric that they ordered for a class that they were teaching. It's silk, it's completely silk, but it looks like linen. So this is a silk fabric that is processed like linen, and you can stitch on it, like cross stitch on it or embroider on it, and it's beautiful. So this was what it was left, so they calculated it and, you know, gave me the price for this piece. And I was like, of course, it's my birthday, I deserve a silk linen fabric, because why not? So I got that, and then I got these Sodoje silk to stitch on it. So this is the silk I got to stitch on that. And this, the fabric that I showed you earlier, this is raw linen. Is it linen? Yes. In I think this is 36 count. I found this, like, I think actually Nitya found this, which is biodegradable mesh that you can stitch on. And this is this 18 count? What is this? 14 count. This is 14 count. So just something to try. I wanted to try and see how you can stitch on this and what would it look like. So just, you know, experimenting with new things. So yeah. Next, I have a few books that I purchased. So after I finished a needlepoint kit, a couple of them last year, I decided that this is something I enjoy and I want to do more of, and even have been thinking about creating patterns that can be stitched on canvas, needlepoint canvas, or as cross stitch. So it's like a crossover between the two. So I bought a few of these books that have like guides for needlepoint, because I'm like new to needlepoints, of course, and I wanted to you know, get to know, you know, be introduced to more stitches, especially. So this has like a different stitches and how you can actually accomplish the, you know, this stitch and all of that. So yeah, that one. And then I bought this one, which is Icelandic patterns in needlepoint. This is both like can be a stitch as cross stitch and also as needlepoint. It doesn't have a lot of like different kind of like patterns, different kind of like stitches. It's more of different kind of patterns, and also I like the style as well. It's different from Persian rugs, which is what I like and my design is inspired by, but it is close enough. So right. And then I bought the Dictionary of Needlepoint Stitches. This is another book that has a lot of like different kinds of needlepoint stitches and how you can actually achieve them. So it has the instruction and stuff in it. This one is Geometric Designs in Needlepoint, and this is because I'm going to try and see if I can design needlepoint. And there are a lot of, this is so old that the patterns were actually hand drawn. So like a sample of the pattern. I'm thinking about like creating designs, because a lot of like Persian motifs are very geometric, especially when it comes to architectural designs. And I'm you know, I want to attempt creating those patterns, you know, creating needlepoint patterns using Persian motifs essentially. So I'm going to attempt that, and a lot of those are geometric, so I think this will be a good inspiration for that. And then I got Crafting a Better World. Has a lot of like tiny projects that are and also it inspires you as well. This one is another one, which is Crafting the Resistance. That's another like collection of different projects. You know, this one has like knitting, but you can use that as cross stitch as well. Again, this is Resistance Ornament, right? So there are a lot of like tiny little projects that can be done. Right, so Bleeding Heart like felt for t-shirt. Then I bought a few patterns online. So these are PDF patterns. I bought this one. This is a pattern that I'm actually planning on starting because this is for my person. I will follow you into the dark, and I want to stitch this on dark fabric actually, and so I'm going to switch the border to a different color, but I'm gonna and the letters to a different color, the bright color, and then I stitch it on darker fabric. So that is 98 by 128 and it's designed by Contrary Perry. Okay, this is from OddlySpecificXStitch. Is The Horror Persists, because I feel like it's really fitting, and I think this will be a good project when it's done to finish as maybe flat full for my office, for my cubicle. So yeah, it says the horror persists, but so do I. And then I was introduced to this designer by Nitia from Embroidery Stitchery because we were talking about designs that look like long dog sampler designs, and she mentioned this pattern, and I looked it up and I was like, ooh, this is, yes, it's in the same round, but I actually like this a lot. So SirenStitchWorks on Etsy, and the pattern is called Dare Be Brave. This is so cool. Has all these little doodads, and I'm planning on stitching this with that floche and those 3 colors of floche on that raw linen fabric. And it says, in the flush of love's light, we dare be brave. Okay. I especially like the sun. So this is the other one of those bags that I said I bought as project bag for crochet. So this is the second one. It came in a pack of 2. So then I placed an order like way before Christmas, because the goal was for this to be a gift for Christmas, actually for winter solstice, for needle minder. So I wanted to gift them something, but because of the so it's a Jasmine custom bag, if you know, this is mine, but I like the mini size, so I bought myself or ordered myself a mini, but I bought regular size for the for Nitia, Sarah, and Julie. And but you know, postal strike in Canada. She's in Canada, Jen is in Canada, so it had to go on hold until that post resumed, and then she sent it over. So when I received it, I was like, oh, it's already January, so I'm gonna just wait and then send it out for Valentine's Day. So that's what I did. And on the fabric I chose is Golden Girls, and it says for being a friend, thank you for being a friend on it, and I think it's fitting. So yeah, so this is mine, and I haven't decided what project will go in it. And then I ordered from the sewing shop, and this was my first purchase from her, and I ordered fabric, but then she's watching my video. So if you're watching my video, thank you so much, and you're awesome, and this gift is so generous. So she sent me one of her famous bags It does have a black cat in it, because she was like, I think like in a card that includes it, she said like, I think I heard that you love black cats. Oh yeah, I do love black cats. I do have a black cat. He is napping right there. So she sent me this bag that has a black cat on it, and it has a black cat charm. Ooh. So yes, thank you so much. And these are the fabrics. I told you, like, I'm a hypocrite, so yeah, I want to cut back, but hasn't happened yet. So this is one, I don't remember their names, and I need to go back to the website and find the name so I can actually attach the tag, make a tag for it. This is gorgeous. I think this was 32 count, or was it 36 count? God, I don't remember. Oh, there is a tag, isn't there? Maybe this one doesn't have a tag. Oh, this one doesn't have a tag, but the rest do. I have to go back to my order and figure out what this one was. So this is 36 count linen in Calypso. And just look at this beauty. This is gorgeous. And this one is Dirty Little Secret 18 count Ada. And I love how grungy this is. It doesn't, yeah, this is more like it. It has a little bit of like purple, like lavender in it. So beautiful. So thank you, Kelly. It's this was such a wonderful, first of all, you're so talented, and these fabrics are awesome, but also you're so generous, so thank you so much. And lastly, on a DStash site, I mean, I'm part of a couple of DStash groups. I rarely like even check it out, but this time I was checking it, and I noticed that a pack of 20 of these Caron collection 50% silk, 50% wool flosses were on sale for $40. So there are 20 skeins, and the whole thing was $40, which is like half the price. So each of these are usually, actually less than half. These are all usually are for sale for $5.50. But essentially it came down to them being like $2 a piece. So I got a few. So that's one. This is the second one. This, and these are like 4 needlepoint, and this is thicker. This is not like, this is not a DMC. So for needlepoint. And also I am planning on stitching on a couple of projects on very large, like very low count fabric, so this will be good for that too. Yes, this one, this one, yellow, yes, this, this one, yes, this, There are a few solid, but majority of them are variegated. So the solid ones are were originally 470, and the variegated ones are 550. This, I love this one. And this. So yeah, there are 20 of them. Lastly, this year I have been trying to not journal, but like keep track of not only my projects, but also I have been pulling tarot cards, doing a 3-card spread most days. I'm trying to aim for daily, but yeah. So I started like recording it in different ways. So instead of doing a lot of like stickers, I bought a planner, like a weekly planner. So this is the week. And then I got these stickers, these tarot stickers. And when I pull, then instead of just writing what card I pulled, I actually use a sticker and just create the same spread. And then I add all the other information about what I stitched on that day, and if I released any pattern or anything. So this is how I've been keeping track of my work. And then there are like weeks that, I don't feel like it, so I don't I don't do any spreads. So this week in February I only had one spread. I didn't do any reading the rest of the week. So yeah, so I am keeping track of my stuff this way. I've been able to keep track of them so far, and I'm gonna continue with that. It's been forever. This is like so long. I don't know how long it will take me to edit it, but you know what? It's been a while. I don't want to promise that I will be back really soon, because it doesn't mean anything. I don't want to lie either. So instead, I'm going to say I'm going to try my best to be able to record as soon as I feel like recording and I have things to share with you. In terms of plans and what I want to do and for the rest of February and then in March. So end of February, as I mentioned, I'm going to be in a retreat with my guild chapter, and so that those 2.5 days we're going to have a chance to actually do a lot of stitching and spend some time with other stitchers, and I will be able to, I'm just living for that like next week, because I need that break. I really, really do need that break to just be able to separate myself from everything that is happening around and just focus on something that is not related to that, and yeah, and recharge. So anyway, so that's coming up. And then in March, Youtiful Sip and Stitchery has a 1-day retreat. They call it Market Madness. So it's like sort of like the first day that they are putting up all the patterns that they bought from Nashville Market. And basically it's a whole day. And if you have placed any order, you can pick it up in person. So I'm gonna be, taking a ride with Nitya, and we're gonna go to Youtiful Sip and Stitchery. That's at least the plan, to hang out, to do some stitching, and then then come back, and also for us to pick up our orders from Needle Work Market. So that's coming up. I am aiming to work on more on my sweater, and I'm gonna have that one start. I'm not gonna, fingers crossed, I'm not gonna have more starts. That one start, I'm gonna probably start it during the retreat. I want to finish that by April, because my dad is going back, and I want to be able to send that finish. I need to finish it and then FFO it, so I can send it out to her, to my person back home. So other than that, I'm just trying to hang on. It's difficult. What I can, I don't want to say advice, but what I can offer is, and what I have been working on, is to focus on those small tasks that I can actually do and it's in my power to do. Because no matter how small of a power you think you have, or small of an impact you think you have, it still is like moving that needle, right? So it's about like doing those small things, taking those small steps, and not letting the fear and the heaviness of the world stop you from taking those actions. Any change that is meaningful happens over time, and also can be done in crowd. So if you're just one person, what the mark you will leave is very small, and it might look insignificant, but that little step, that little action, combined with so many other people's actions and steps, will be able to keep each other safe and protect each other, no matter what the rest of the world is doing. So we are living in strange times. So take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, and no matter how little or much you stitch, I hope it brings you joy, it brings you comfort, it connects you to other people, and give you community and purpose. And I see you soon. Bye.